Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the fam. Peace to the family, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome. Good afternoon, good day. How are you? Happy holidays. If you celebrate, you know what I'm saying? If that's what you're into. How are you? Salute. Greetings. What's up? What's good? It's been a minute. Wanted to tap in with you. Lot to discuss. Happy Kwanzaa. I ain't doing Kwanzaa this year though. We'll talk about it. But I'm not, don't let me rain on your parade. I gotta stand on principle. This year. Got to stand for something. Shout out to Red. I see him tapping in. Salutations to you and yours. I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not doing Kwanzaa this year. Again, nothing personal if that's what you do. If that's what you do. Gotta stand on principle, though. Gotta stand on principle. Right? I ain't Red. Oh, you mean you hollering at Red in the comments? Shout out to Red. So I seen my brother 19 Keys. He did a live yesterday. And he was speaking about going into 2025, right? And the need and the necessity to... All right, this is how he framed it, right? Thank you. National Asiatic Galactic Association. National Asiatic Galactic Association. Right? This is for my people that understand that we're part of a cosmic family. You know what I'm saying? And, I've spoken about this openly on many occasions. I'm like, yo, the people speaking about UFOs, have they ever had first contact? Do you know anybody that speaks to aliens that has had any interaction whatsoever with the cosmic family? But they just up here talking about it. Second, third, fourth, and fifth hand information. Can they call on them? Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. We'll have that before the year is out. I'm going to address it. You know what I'm saying? Because going into 2025, we got to get some things really, really straightened. If you talking aliens, my nigga, you better be able to communicate with them. You feel me? You better be able to show us your relationship in real time with these entities. Or you should sit down and get out the way for people that have, real relationships. You know what I'm saying? That have really tapped into that frequency and know what to do with it responsibly. Other than that, you just like a reporter or something like that. And shout out to the reporters. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, Keys was speaking about the Department of Government Efficiency, right? And the fact that Elon Musk and them, they're going to come into the government and clean things up. They're going to cut off the extra meat and move certain things out of the way that need to be moved out of the way, right? They're going to let go of some things, granted, right? Because you can't hold on to everything going into this new paradigm. You feel me? Some things you have to let go of. And the community, and when I say the community, it's a micro and a macro. There's overarching, right? There's dominant society, there's the nigga hierarchy, and then we have these smaller micros like we belong to the conscious community. You know what I'm saying? How can you tap in with aliens? They haven't showed us to communicate with humans. That's not true. We've been doing that since a long time. I was doing it openly all of 2010, all the way up until like 2013. And when I was doing it, niggas wasn't ready for it. They was spooky and scary and they was running from it. Now everybody's a fucking alien expert. You know what I'm saying? but no one has called them yet. No one has communicated. No one got a transmission. No one is able to make the manifest. Remember Prophet Yahweh? He used to be able to do it. So, Department of Government Efficiency, a lot of the people seem, just based on the politics of the year, that we're not the same people. Melanated people are not a monolith. And I got in a whole lot of trouble. And when I'm saying trouble, I had made a comment last week, and it was a controversial comment. You know what I'm saying? And people just was in their feelings. And I'm attempt as best as I can to explain my comment away without being disrespectful. And that's gotta, I guess, at some point go into this Kwanzaa conversation. And I really hope it's not received the wrong way. Let me outright say this, right? I'm not a separatist. I am someone who advocates us having an identity. There's something that we can stand on, because it's not like going into next year. It's like now, there's nothing more important that we need than a consecrated identity, right? Something that you can defend, not just something that's aloof that you think about that sounds cute, but something that you can actually back up, right? Something that's foundational enough for you where you're rooted in your understanding of it, right? And we don't have that. We're scrambled right now. And not having an identity is very, very dangerous heading forward, because we're moving into the age and the era of culture wars, and those culture wars are based on identity politics. So you better know who you are, and you better be able to defend that thing. And also, it's going to, based on what you're willing to defend, is going to be based on who you think you are, where you think you're from, and the rights that come along with, having that relationship. Yes, I'm going to help you. Looking to quit drinking? Yes, definitely. Let me write down some of the things I need to come back to, and then we're going to get there after I get this stuff off that I'm saying. All right? Please stop. You want to quit drinking, and you need some advice. You want to quit drinking. We'll get back to that, right? So it's imperative, that we have an understanding to some degree about identity going forward, because we're moving into a paradigm where they're going to be engaging in what's called culture wars, right? And they're going to be expecting you to defend certain things that you may have already walked away from. They're going to be gaslighting. The gaslighting has already taken place. Huge orbs in my home, seen in the dark with naked eye, scared me at the time, but began to research. Their spirits traveling in Merkabas. Okay, let's write that down. Orbs in home. That's different. Spirits in Merkabas. This is deep. Right? And it's all relative to our conversation. That's what I love about Ifa. Allows us to connect. Let's write that down. Ifa allows us to connect. These youngsters too young to be full-blown drunks and recovering alcoholics. Let's not be judgmental about where somebody's condition and situation is. Some of these youngsters started drinking at a very early age. Some of them 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. I think that I probably started having sips when I was like 9 or 10. I mean, not full-blown, like sneaking sips, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And then developing an appetite for it. So by the time I was 14, I started going to clubs in New York City. I drunk from the age of 14 to 41. Let me write that down. 14 to 41. Right? I partied 7 days a week from the age of 14 and going forward. I'm gonna write this down. Kwanzaa, I didn't lose my space. 19 keys, MLK. I get right back to you, right? So I partied from the age of 14 to 41. I could not party. I couldn't go to a club without having at least 2 to 3 drinks, right? Because I couldn't be in a club sober. You feel me? So I'm not gonna be the one that's judgmental about children having full-blown liquor addictions when everything in the media and the entertainment, right, which is encased in our culture, supports it. You feel me? I would rather be helping young people with alcohol addiction and heroin addiction, and that's where the majority of our youth are headed, based on the signaling that's coming from society if they're listening to music, right? Because I'm a huge fan of Future, right? Huge fan. I wouldn't recommend it for someone who's not strong-willed and strong-minded, that really knows themselves. He has that strong scorpionic pull that he will pull you into the underworld, my nigga, and you'll be sipping lean. Right? It's like, I would love to see what his chart looks like, because he has to have Pisces placements. Right? He has Pisces placements because when I started listening to the Monster mixtape in 2015, I was engaged. I was outside hustling, right? Not I wasn't hustling work. I got challenged from a friend because I used to sell $5 water, right? I was the first person to bottle alkaline water in our community with gold in it, and I used to sell it for $5. And my old business partner, who has a particular disdain for all things consciousness, right? Shout out to Majesty. Majesty was selling water in Coney Island on the boardwalk, and he challenged me. And anybody that knows me, all you got to do is challenge me. So I started hustling outside with him on 42nd Street. Now, I'm putting myself back in the paradigm where I'm being chased by the police every day, right? 42nd Street, Coney Island, and where else did we end up at? Well, we got chased off 42nd Street. We had to set up on 43rd and 8th. Right? Well, anyway, long story short, man, where did you take me? I'm trying to remember. What about the water? Oh, I was listening to the Monster mixtape. Right? I'm listening to the Monster mixtape. My nigga, I never sipped lean, and I never popped perk or any of the pills, but I felt like I was on lean. Just listening to the music, as like somebody said, Scorpions are portals. So he's a third decanate Scorpio, right? Write that down. Third decanate. Right? Third decanate. Meaning that there's 3 decanates. There's 30 degrees of any sign. They're separated by 10 degrees apiece, right? Me and Red, we are in the second decanate because we're born on the 14th of November. He's born at the tail end of Scorpio. He's born the same day as Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden, Brandon. He is an extreme Scorpio, and I would give anything to see his chart and bet that he has deep Piscean placements in a lot of planets of Scorpio, Pluto in particular, because I was deeply submerged, not just in his pain, because let me explain something to you, right? Future has had a run that is almost going to extend into a decade next year, right? Where he has made all of his music based on heartache. All based on heartache, right? He got his heart broke by another Scorpio, Sierra. Now, Scorpio brothers, if you're in the building and you're listening to this, there's no pain from a Scorpio than being scorned and burnt and hurt by another Scorpio, right? Because they do you different. And they fuck with your ego. They fuck with everything about you that you think about yourself, right? So this is what happened with Future. Future tapped into auto-tune right after Jay-Z killed auto-tune right? The Sagittarius, he used the arrow and he bodied T-Pain. Could somebody look up what sign T-Pain is? I think T-Pain might be, T-Pain's birthday. T-Pain, right? Whew. They gave me, he's a Libra. No, wait. Yeah, he's a Libra. So he's born September 30th, right? He's a Libra. So he's the balanced scales, right? You got Libra, you got Scorpio, and you got Sagittarius. So all of them are interplayed, right? He got him out the way, right? He gets T-Pain out the way. Future comes and resurrects the auto-tune. Why? Because the company that makes auto-tune is called Antares, right? Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. All right? Auto-tune, Antares. What does the word Antares mean? Right? Just Google it. Google Antares and Scorpio at the same time. I'll write out the name for it, right? And what is Antares? The heart of Scorpio. Right? The heart of Scorpio. So, a person who calls themselves Pluto, which is the most remote part of Scorpio. This is the dredges and the depths, right? Tantamount to Pisces, which is the bottom of the ocean. Pisces is Hades. It's the bottom of the ocean. But Scorpio is Hades as well. That's why they said, oh, Puff is the devil himself, reincarnate. He's Hades. Puff is enacting a mythology called, right? This is the mythology of when Hades takes Persephone down into the underworld and she's resurrected in the springtime. So Puff is playing out the cosmic narrative of death and regeneration, right? Based on him being an archetype of what's considered to be the quote-unquote devil. Okay? Cassie is a Virgo, right? The wheat. And she's taken into the underworld where she's resurrected come springtime, right? And that's the whole story of Demeter, right? Her mother, who comes and gets her out of the underworld to resurrect spring. Okay? So that's what we're dealing with here. So Antares is the heart of Scorpio. So Future got his heart broke by another Scorpio, utilizes auto-tune, and has been on the run for almost 10 years speaking about the pain that he received from another Scorpio, that he has to numb that pain with drugs, and now the whole generation is on drugs, right? Fucking around with a Scorpio, right? Because can't nobody lead society like a Scorpio. Why? Because the entire planet is scorpionic. Why? Because the planet, we came here for death, rebirth, and regeneration. And that's the cycle of the universe. Okay? Yeah. Lil Wayne is born the same day as my father, September 27th. My father's name is Wayne. So this shit to me is personal when it comes to like me looking at this stuff and putting it together. I'm not just here freestyling, and this is not entertainment. You know what I'm saying? But I do love you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like taking time out with you because this is life for us. This is life. What else would we do? Right? But make the observations and break it down. Shout out to Red. I know that he's in the building. And as 6 of clubs, well, I was born November 14th, so I'm a 6 of club in cardology. We're the psychic card. We decode and break stuff down. Scorpionic wise, we go into the deep mysteries. And it's the John the Baptist card, right? So I'm Morpheus. I came here to find Neo. Okay? Put that nigga on the pedestal and be like, you can't be Christ if you don't get sacrificed. I'm just, shout out to all of the Christ seeds out there. You know what I'm saying? I got y'all back. Salute. Salute. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for you. They cut John the Baptist got his head. He got decapitated first. Right? I did so you could. Right? Same thing almost happened to Morpheus, right? He did so you could, Neo. You dig what I'm saying? Anyway. So, future, right? I got to get back to what I was saying about, I got to get to the Kwanzaa piece. Yeah, we was talking about future. We was talking about that you know, when you put your, as a Scorpio, when you wear your heart, and Taurus, when you wear your heart on your sleeve, right? And you're so deeply rooted in your emotion, because remember, Pisces rules what? Music, spirituality, and drugs, right? And it's the deep ocean. It's the bottom of the ocean. When I think about Pluto, because of how far out and cold it is, I think about, it might be underneath the ocean. How far and deep can you get, right? So there's a connection and a correlation. Shout out to all of the Pisces. Scorpios get along great with Pisces because we understand one another. We understand one another. The deep crevices of spirituality, you know what I'm saying, that other people don't understand. Pisces are the oldest reincarnated energies on the planet. They've been here the longest. You know what I'm saying? They're ancient spirits. They've reincarnated the most times. They have the best lessons to teach. Gemini and Scorpios have a relationship as well. Look at the back of Biggie Small's album, Life After Death, right? Think about how many Geminis that you know that were transfixed with death is based on their placement. Where you find the 8th house placement in the chart of a Gemini, that's the clue that you're looking for. Shout out to my brother Cosmo Physics. He can explain it a lot better, right? Yeah, down in the muddy waters. So I want to get back to, so Brother Keys was saying, you know, moving forward into next year, we have to cut off some extra weight, you know what I'm saying, because everybody can't make the cut. And he was saying, you know, he signaled some people and some clubs out. He was like, we don't need the boule to go forward and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa. Like, those are closed societies. That's not an open invite to you, bro. Like, there's certain things that you're just not gonna be able to do because you don't have the access to do them. Focus on, you know what I'm saying, the things that can be focused on. Like, you got to destroy the thing in order to exclude the parts that are pinnacle to it. You feel me? And those parts are unfortunately pinnacle to it. And then he said something about MLK, and I said, bro, like, you should research Martin Luther King before you talk about him. Right? We do a lot of we take a lot of jabs at King and the sacrifice that King made, and we really don't understand the walk and the plight of MLK. Shout out to my brother Kamal, right? We don't understand the plight of MLK. MLK is not your problem. You know what I'm saying? MLK is not your problem. I would implore everybody to dig a little bit deeper and do some research. You know what I'm saying? Before you talk crazy about King, because you're living in his dream. Right? We're not living in Malcolm's dream. And Malcolm's dream was not the nation's dream, because the nation they were not revolutionary to the degree where they wanted to pop off. That's why they got Malcolm out the way. Malcolm was a lone wolf in that regards. So we often cite the energy of Malcolm, but that energy of Malcolm is not reflective of the inner why. That's Malcolm being a lone wolf, being a revolutionary in his own spirit, wanting to pop off. You feel me? So what happened post MLK, right? They had to neutralize the revolution because MLK's death sparked a riotous reaction that could not have been elicited even with, like, let's say a Malcolm standing on a podium saying it's time to pop off, the emotion that people felt when they spilled the blood of MLK on April 4th in Memphis, where kings go to die, right, created a revolution that they could not keep their hands on. They could not necessarily quell it or control it, right? And then legislation comes. You got the Civil Rights Act. Well, I think the Civil Rights Act had already been passed, but LBJ, right? And we ain't talking about LeBron James. We're talking about Lyndon Baines Johnson. They come with the Great Society deal, which is where you get welfare, Medicaid, you feel me? Head Start, a bunch of other shit, right? So again, people are like living in the benefits that were extracted from the blood spill and the sacrifice of MLK and throwing rocks at the same time. You feel me? The shit is crazy. Atlanta wouldn't be what Atlanta is if not for the sacrifice of MLK. The South wouldn't be what the South is. Melanated people wouldn't be who they are and where they are without the sacrifice of MLK. So we need to show some respect, right? And if you got a better agenda, then implement it. But don't shit on the people who came before you and laid foundations, even if they lost their lives in the interim because they found out that they needed to pivot in different directions, and they got him. Because what was he dealing with? He was in the business or about to affect the proletariat class. So what is the definition of a proletariat? The proletariat is the social class of wage earners, those members of a society whose possessions of significant economic value is their labor power. The economy, right? The GDP, the entire country is based on its labor force and the economy. So King understood that. He was putting together a poor person revolution that transcended racial lines when he was down there in Memphis speaking to the transit workers, or the sanitation workers, should I say. And he was about to put together a poor people's campaign that spoke to what? The labor issues in this country. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters. You feel me? That's the only thing these people is concerned with. Is the labor force, which pushes the economy, which is responsible for the GDP, which then is reflective in if this is a superpower or not, my nigga. So if you want to outdo or do better or complete unfinished works of the great ones, right, then that should be your positions. And I'm not speaking directly to my comrade. I'm speaking to all of us who want to effectively change something meaningful in this country, which will reverberate globally as a revolutionary. Yes, the unions. This is how you get them, right? And if you have a platform and if you're an influencer, right, we have squandered the opportunity in this day and time, especially with digital and social media, to unionize in a way in which our ancestors never could have because they did not have that access back then. I'm putting on my blue blockers, right? Because the blue light toxicity is not doing me any good. So bro said, you know, there's a certain class of people that need to be eliminated and moved out of the way as we move forward into this new paradigm. I'm like, my nigga, why not the drug dealers? Why not the hustlers? Why not the pimps? Right? Before any revolution could be done, you have to get rid of a certain class of individual amongst you that have to go. In the Battle of Algiers, right, the first thing that they did was got rid of the pimps, because the pimps are the turncoats and the hustlers are the turncoats. So then we rewind ourselves back to, did anybody see the movie Panther? I ain't talking about Black Panther. I'm speaking about the movie Panther that was about the Black Panthers. Right? Did anybody see Panther? Right? What happened in Panther? The Panthers had beef with the government. The Panthers had beef with the system, with the powers that be. The powers that be figured that they could neutralize the Panthers by working with the hustlers, right? By putting work in the hood. At that time, it was doozy, or what you call dope, or the horse. The hustlers and the gangsters and the pimps was the turncoats that killed the revolution. For the folks. They've always worked for the folks. Where you think the doozy came from? The doozy come from the French Connection. Where did the French Connection come from? From the government making a deal with Lucky Luciano, who released them from prison because Lucky Luciano had what they call jizz with fizz with Riz. The Lucky Luciano had Riz with North Italian mobsters, and in order for them to effectively fight in World War II, they had to go over these mountains, right? And they needed the North Italian mobsters' approval. So they got Lucky Luciano to run the play. In exchange for that, Lucky Luciano sets up the pipeline, right, of the French Connection with the Corsicans, right, who are ancient Moors, the Turks, right? These are remnants of the Moorish Empire who say, based on what? The Sicilians get with the Turks to kill off the Moors, right? Put it in their hood and sell it to them niggas. You feel me? That's how that happened. That's how the dope gets here, right? How you going to move tons of dope through ports if there's not a conspiracy with the government? So I could go, and I did this lecture. I did a lecture where I showed you how, like the last 7 or 8 presidents, how every one of them were interplayed and intermingled with some sort of narcotic trade, even to the point where Prescott Bush, which is George Bush's father, was responsible for the doozy trade in China when Britain and China was doing the Boxer Rebellion, my nigga. That's how far back this shit goes, okay? All the way to the formation of the CIA, right? All the way from the goddamn the Green Triangle, when them niggas, they was flying dope through Con Air. Y'all niggas think Frank Lucas and them was just, they figured some shit out? You think that they figured some shit out? You think that they figured some shit out? So, our people are rioting after 68, right? They hit them with a 2-prong effect. They hit them with Vietnam, and then Nixon comes with what they call black capitalism. Black capitalism, right? Black capitalism. He said if you can't defeat them, neutralize them. How did they neutralize them? They gave them niggas jobs. And I often speak about this. My father said that he was even one of those people who got neutralized because he was a Black Panther on the campus of Columbia College, right? And they gave them positions. Rather than fighting against them, they absorbed them into the system and gave them positions. You feel me? Rather than defeat the man, you joined him. Now, Nixon was tricky, but Nixon had a brother named Bob Johnson, Mr. Johnson. He's still alive today. He lives in High Point, North Carolina. He may single-handedly be the most important melanated person in existence that none of us know about. He was responsible for getting the civil rights movement their bag from Woolworth. He was responsible for being an advisor to Nixon to get the melanated people the bag. He was responsible for getting Mandela free. He was responsible, right? And he was not a sellout. This shit is a lot more convoluted than we make it seem because we're not a monolith of a people. We're not a monolith of a people. You feel me? We don't have one mind and we're not moving in one direction. So certain people are playing the game based on the rules that they have been in turn with. They have no knowledge that they might be offsetting with what you're saying, yo, we shouldn't be playing the game this way. He was raised by a Christian grandmother, and she gave him a certain set of criteria and rules that he moved with, and he never deviated from that. And he was able to get so much complete with that set of criteria. So who should he answer to? A monolith means a large single upright block or stone, usually one shaped into serving as a pillar or monument, right? A large and impersonal political, corporate, or social structure regarded as intractably indivisible and uniform. That ain't who we are. You feel me? Let me run this clip real quick. And then we could jump right back into it. Right? We're not a monolith. We're a bunch of separate pieces, and those separate pieces is moving sometimes in different directions. And because of that, sometimes they collide. But sometimes they coincide and get monumental shit done. Right? And we should respect other people's quote-unquote movement in the way that they're moving based on their goals and their agendas. Because leadership is not just caping for a monolith. Because if we're not a monolith of people, if a person comes and they're a Christian leader, they're putting on for other Christian melanated people from that perspective, my nigga, and you just are benefiting as a result. But they got the relationships because they all in bed with the same folk, right? Just like the Boule, if they're the king advisors, my nigga, then they have the king's ear. They could get the king on the phone quicker than you. MLK had access to the White House. Nobody else did at that time. And he used that to his benefit. And he benefited melanated people, your black asses, right? And he also knew how to manipulate the most modern invention that was the most disruptive at that time, which was television, color TV in living rooms, right? Media, my nigga. He utilized media to put them people in the figure four where he forced them to create policy to appease niggas. And that's where this shit comes from that we dealing with today. It was a choice for motherfuckers to integrate. You wasn't forced. You wasn't forced. You wanted to be down. Now you're crying. Now you want to blame a nigga who been dead over 55 years. Get over it. And step into fucking leadership, my nigga. Stop always crying and complaining and pointing fingers at King. Nigga, that shit is over and done with. He already made the sacrifice. Where's your big dogs at? Put some points on the board. Show us a different way. Because you got media. You got media. Media is the medium. You got media right now. What you doing with it? How you flipping it? How you finessing it? How you freaking it? How? Stop knocking other people's movements, my nigga. Move out the way of other people's movements when they are moving and putting points on the board that you benefit from. That's what we shall not move into 2025 with. It's just impossible. Right? Enculturation and acculturation. Let's talk about it. Enculturation defined. Socialization process through which individuals learn and acquire the cultural and psychological qualities of their own group. Of their own group. Of their own group. What does that mean? It's based on your mama, your community, your big homie, right? The niggas who you look at as G-O-D, right? They're responsible for teaching you and enculturating you into the culture of which you now have a sword and a shield to go outside and do warfare with, right? And proselytize in the name of that culture to bring other people in. What is the reverse of that? Acculturation. Changes in behavior, conditions, values, language, cultural activities, personal relationship styles, and beliefs as a cultural minority group comes in continuous contact with the dominant culture. So what does that mean? When melanated people assimilated with white folk, they broke themselves, my nigga. They broke themselves like hoes. Right? And they're the bottom bitch. They let the dominant culture get on top of them and dominate them. But they got finessed and freaked with opportunity. Only thing they had to do was wave the dollar. They did it with the dollar. But you're not alone. This is happening across the globe. It's crash capitalism. You're not going to crash into capitalism and break nothing, my nigga. You're going to get broke. You're going to get broke. And that's what we're looking at. Right? But you in good company. No one has figured this shit out yet. And that's the beauty of the freedom that we have to sit back and point fingers and freestyle online all day, right? Because you're the only niggas with the most freedom on the planet that can do this shit. Nobody else can. Right? Everyone else is under different levels of pressure to produce. We sit back and we proselytize, we philosophize, right? And we beat our chests about what we not finna do and who's what. And you know, niggas got enough time to argue online. Nobody, think about it. What melanated people on the planet have the amount of freedom to waste the time that we do doing nothing? And we swear that we're doing the most, right? Think about it. Who else? Who else? Salutations. Sister Cafunia, salute. Who else has this freedom to talk about how free you not? Americana is a requirement. It's the biggest religion in the world. When you come here, nigga, break yourself. Take your shoes off at the door. Because you cannot walk through this house with your own shoes on. That's Americana. You show me somebody that has done different. That has not broken themselves at the door and assimilated themselves into Americana. I'll wait. Now, there's people who have finessed and got around it to a degree where they have been able to incorporate their thing into your thing, and you practice their folk traditions, but they have not overcome the forces of Americana. Let's go back to the definition. Enculturation defined, right? Now, we could say the small hats have an aspect of enculturation. They still have taught their children how to hold on to customs and traditions and values that come with those traditions, right? And they are a minute minority who have expansive amounts of power based on what? They refuse to put down the borrowed identity that they have because that's their shield and cover. But they also have figured out how to incorporate that into the system where they won't have to totally abandon everything else just to appear as adherents to Americana. Acculturation, changes in behavior, cognitions, values, language, cultural activities, personal relationship styles, and beliefs as a cultural minority group comes into continuous contact with the dominant culture. Let's look at the 1970s, right? When I was born, my nigga, when I was cognizant, when I was able to open my eyes and see what the fuck was going on outside, right? Acculturation was taking place, and they broke niggas, and all they had to do was dingle and just a little bit of access, right? They say, oh, King said, I have integrated my people into a burning house. Nobody told you to sit at a burning table, my nigga, and wait till the fire finish smoldering, and you like, nah, I'm good. They like, but the house is on fire. I know, but it's going to stop burning eventually. And if it don't, I'm going to get me a hazmat suit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm finna watch this TV. You know why? Because I remember being outside in the cold of this house and looking through the window and being jealous of the fact that them niggas had a color TV in that bitch. So I don't give a fuck if this house is burnt or is charred. I'm finna sit up in this house and watch this TV. That's what happened. And niggas are still stuck. And everybody's like, get out. And they like, nah, I'm off that indica. I'm in the couch. I'm looking at the TV, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm binging. I'm binging. And niggas have been transfixed ever since. Don't blame that on fucking King. It's been 55 plus years. Let's do the math. 1968. Somebody add this shit up. From 225. How long has it been? We still gonna make excuses and point fingers, right? That's some weak shit. That's some weak shit. We'll never get nowhere. Because you do not respect the people who made the sacrifices. Even if they fucked up, you do better. But you don't shit on the ancestors, you don't pee on their head, and you don't get in front of the rest of the world and say what they ain't did right and you benefiting from it. Come on, son. We're gonna stop that. Right? We're gonna stop that. We gonna let this shit be what it is. And do better. $44 resonators. Shit. Come on now. Stop it. Stop it. Trying to find this video, man, about rugged individualism. Feel me? The rugged individualism kicked in the 70s. Why? Because the youth saw niggas was losing. And who wants to be part of a losing team? Nobody. Especially not the youth. Tell me I'm lying. Right? Tell me I'm lying. Tell me that y'all got second generation children in your house that can't wait to take up your plight of consciousness, my nigga. Just show me that. Right? Just show me that. Because I had to deal with this shit. I had to deal with this shit. Hold on, let me see. Is this it? Tell me that. Show me a second or third, fourth generation conscious family where the child grew up in a household where the parent wasn't celebrating the folk traditions of Americana, and the child was like, yeah, that's some shit that I want to be involved in. Oh, y'all niggas don't do Christmas? Y'all niggas don't do Thanksgiving? Y'all motherfuckers ain't dressing up in Halloween? Yeah, I can't wait to do that shit. Show me them. DM me. I would love to interview them and speak to them. And I'm not being facetious. They may be out there, but I want to talk to them. And I want to document them. So we can give them, I'm going to platform them. And I'm going to stream them on our streaming service 24/7. So people can have an example of how to raise their children, right? To not be fucking cultural freaks. And then those same children are the ones that grow up and rebel against the program because you don't understand Americana, my nigga. Right? So now I'm not doing Kwanzaa because if we're talking about leaving things behind and separating ourselves from X, Y, and Z, right? My nigga, I grew up in a household where I was told exactly who Karanga was, right? And I've met the brother a few times. So I ain't talking about something that's foreign. I'm talking about some shit that I was up close on. I'm talking about some shit that I grew up in. I'm talking about some shit that I seen the contradictions and the elders that would talk shit about this nigga when he came through, because whenever he came through, the bag came with him. Them niggas was there in the front row with their hands out doing the origami shit, man. I'm not talking about something that I ain't see growing up. I'm talking to you about the psychological development that goes into children watching the bullshit. That's what I'm telling you. And this is where the decisions are made in the quiet, in the darkness and secret. And then the shit that you see manifest in the light, right? It's those conscientious decisions that are made in the darkness where they like, not only am I not fucking with this shit, I'm finna start pulling some bricks out of it. Right? So you got sleeper cells and consciousness that can't wait for the alt-right and MAGA niggas to blow dog whistles because they want to take out their frustration and their hatred for their upbringing on the movement, on the community, my nigga. Have you no idea what's going on out here? We just clueless to this shit, right? It's the same shit, right? It's the conscious Christmas conundrum. My mother never celebrated Christmas, so I didn't experience that with her. But my father, right, who's an ex-Black Panther, who's an atheist, you feel me? I would go to his crib because he practiced folk tradition. Why? Because he is a Black American. A Black American. A professor of African American literature, right? In a few universities. So he holds on to this shit right here. This is his identity. Right? This is his identity. And he still got rebellion in him. But he coincides and practices the folk traditions because he knows how important it is, right, for the family structure. He knows how important it is not to have his children feeling weird about culture. So I would go and we would celebrate with him. So the first schism is created when you find out, however you go about finding out, that there's no fucking Santa. Now I'm telling you, y'all think that this is not deep. Y'all think that this is not deep. When I found out that my parents lied to me about Santa, right? And then they told me no. That's when I rebelled. The crack happened because I figured out that they lied. And then I was transfixed because I'm like, y'all telling me this shit about the white man, right? Y'all giving me this education about being culturally rebellious. I had to take some gold and shit going crazy. Y'all telling me this stuff about this white man. Y'all telling me this stuff about Christianity, right? Y'all telling me this stuff about Americana. You feel me? And I'm over here living in a whole I left St. Croix. I left Dr. Sabian. I left my mother. We visited my father. Look, it was 90 degrees during Christmas in St. Croix. The niggas had a glass tree that lit up like lights. And they used to have you out there talking about, man,